Hi sewing friends, welcome to my sewing room. My name is Beth and it's nice to be with you today. Today I'm outside enjoying the sunshine. I am celebrating because my Pink Stars quilt is complete. We had a little wrestling match at the sewing machine and I won. The backing, the binding is on, it's ready to be used and I'm so excited. I love finishing and I love saying I did it all myself. Even when there's mistakes, it's okay. It's going to be used and I bet nobody notices the little mistakes that I made or that you will make along the way. Get it done and enjoy it. And today I'll just take you along with how I quilted my quilt and added binding. So let's get started. So the first thing I did is I unrolled my batting. I bought a huge roll a while back, and this roll is good for quite a few quilts. You can barely see it at the top of this video. I unrolled it. It comes folded in half, so I measured just that measurement with half of my quilt, and then I opened up the batting and got it smoothed out, and then I taped it to my floor to get it nice and smooth. After taping it down, the batting down, I started in the middle with my quilt top and I sprayed the middle with some 505 and smoothed out the top, and then I turned it all over and did the same thing with the backing. After I got a quilt sandwich made, I went to my machine, I put the feed dogs down and used this quilting foot, and I will be starting in the middle of this quilt, and this is the beginning of the wrestling match that I mentioned. This quilt is pretty big. It's a double size, almost a queen size, so it's pretty heavy. I had to roll it up on my right side, and then it hangs off the edge of my table there, and I just try to lift it here and there to get it off the edge so that it's not pulling down. And the problem with adding video to quilting is that there's a tripod on my left, so it's hard to get something to hold the quilt on my left. I'll show you a picture in just a minute of my setup when I'm trying to film these videos. But I start in the middle and I just try to focus on that first block. Then what I did is I worked down in columns. So I just kept working right down in that column of blocks, and when I got to a good stopping place, which was one of the borders, I stopped and I went back to the middle again and I started again. Now this time I'm just working through that sashing, those sashings and cornerstones there. I'm just going to work down right next to where I quilted before, and I'm smoothing as I go and making sure that the backing is still nice and smooth. I check the backing every now and again, make sure that's all nice and smooth, and I just kept going along making my little swirls. That is my sort of go-to design when I don't want to overthink the quilting. I just do some swirly lines and I call them loop-de-loops. So everybody sort of has their doodle, and that is my doodle. After getting all of the quilt blocks in the center of my quilt quilted with the sashing and cornerstone, I moved to the outside borders and I worked on that first border first, just going all the way around my quilt, trying to keep that quilt on the table next to me. And then after I did the first border, I did the piano key border. In this, you can see the chair behind my table that also helps when my quilt needs some stability. Sometimes I will drape it over that chair, and that helps with the weight of the quilt. Now that everything's quilted, I can trim away the excess batting and backing using the quilt top as my guide. Folded up the leftover batting and the fabric strips, and I will put those right away into my stash for future use. I'm just using muslin fabric for my binding. So I'm cutting my strips 2.5 inches, and after I have enough to go all the way around the quilt, I will join them. These are the end of my binding strips. I will be joining them just like this with the diagonal seam right here. I have videos on how to add binding to quilts, and I will list those in the description box so that you can maybe see this with more detail. After pressing my binding in half, I am going to add it to the back of my quilt, and then I will roll it around that raw edge and top stitch on the top of the quilt. I hope this video inspires you to finish one of your quilts that needs to be quilted and bound. It's always so exciting to get it done. It can be used and someone can enjoy it. Thanks for sewing with me today, and I'll see you next time.